I have a guest today that actually isn't Oddie. It is, in fact, Josh.
Hello, my name is Josh.
Josh is very nervous today. So Josh is my boyfriend and I've wanted him to come on the podcast today. You're actually our first guest.
Really, it's a bit daunting.
So yeah, he's really nervous today, but I thought it would be very interesting to have you on here because me and Josh have been together for
9 years?
9 years. We had this conversation the other day.
Coming up 9.
Yeah? I always think it's coming up 8. You sure?
Around 10.
Right, okay. That's another story. So we've been together for a long time. I've had Odd Muse for 5 years now. So Odd Muse is now a majority of the time in our relationship.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And you actually said, are you sure you've had Odd Muse for 5 years today? And I said, yeah. Started in 2020.
It goes so quick.
Now we're in 2025. So yeah, nearly had Odd Muse for 5 years. But in terms of when I was planning it and everything, it has very much been a majority of our relationship. And obviously life has changed a lot since Odd Muse, would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
It's quiet over there. Got to loosen up, hun. So, yeah, I wanted to get him on today because I feel like the partner's perspective on someone who is growing a business is something that, honestly, you just don't find online. There's no content I found like this online. So I thought it would be quite an interesting take. And, yeah, Josh is our first guest. So would you like to introduce yourself officially?
My name is Josh, and I am Amy's boyfriend.
No, you're more than that. Come on, introduce
Behind the
yourself.
scenes, I am Odd Muse support.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes, you are. So my first question for you is, how would you describe Odd Muse?
Odd Muse is crazy. It's like nothing that I thought it was going to be like, sort of thing. I knew it would work. I knew you could do it, but the extent that it got to now, in 5 years, is crazy.
Did you think we'd ever open stores?
No.
I didn't.
No. Not like a flagship store in London and then like New York store. Even just like the pop-ups. The pop-ups are crazy. No, I didn't think it would get to where it's got to. No.
I think when I first wanted to start Odd Muse, I spoke about it for so long to the point where it literally drove you crazy. You was like, just bloody do it then.
Yeah.
But Josh was like very adamant it would work. It was this time where I wasn't really happy at ASOS and I didn't really want to speak up in meetings. So I'd kind of just come home to Josh and be like, I kind of think that I can do this. And Josh would be like, just do it.
Just do it.
Josh is a very worry about it tomorrow kind of guy.
We was young. You was 19, 20.
No, that's when I met you. When I started Odd Muse, I was like 22.
All right, we're 22 years old. We had no mortgage. We had no kids.
Yeah.
No dog. No nothing. We just had us. So why not try then?
Yeah, it was the best time, but it's still really scary. Like, I was still quitting my job.
Yeah,
and everything like that.
It all worked out.
What was the point where you thought this is a little bit crazy?
The first was crazy was when you done the pop-up in Covent Garden.
Yeah.
And you showed me the store. We went and looked at the store and I was like, Aim, this is ridiculous. I thought that you'd bitten off well more than you could chew. And I thought, like, what is she doing? But then when
Really?
Yeah, because it was huge.
I don't remember you telling me that.
But
there was probably already contract signed, so.
Yeah, you just come home and said, yeah, I've signed a contract, we're doing this store, and it's huge. And then when we got there, I was like, this store is huge. How are you going to fill this up? And then when we actually walked around the corner and I saw a queue of hundreds of people, I just thought, wow, well done.
See, yeah. I knew it. And the thing is, with the first pop-up, it needed to be big because I knew it was the first time Odd Muse had ever done anything in real life and I kind of knew that loads of people were going to turn up. But then kind of as the months went on, it was like way too big. Yeah.
And it was even just a build-up to it. Me, you and your dad going up there 5 a.m.
Yeah, that was...
Putting up posters, just fitting out this store.
We've got a really naughty dog. We really do.
Just fitting out this massive store, trying to meet the deadline, trying to make it look perfect.
Yeah, when you compare the Covent Garden pop-up and how the New York store now looks...
Yeah, completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when we were basically reopening the Covent Garden store, wasn't we? And there was this massive, like, ugly board. And do you remember when we was just, like, stapling
Yeah, I know. It was just
shopping bags
we was
to
just
it?
bodging everything to get
Yeah.
it to look good. Yeah, the big. Yeah, because you reopened it, we took off all of the Odd Muse sign, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we had to go back up there and stick it all back up at 5 a.m. before it opened.
Yeah.
And we was
I've got
all
this
stressed.
photo of Josh just, like, asleep on this, like, round bit of wood. Like, I don't know what it was. It was, like, this, like, pedestal thing in store.
Little waiting area.
But yeah, we did loads of things like that at the beginning. I feel like even way back to like the first 6 months of Odd Muse,
We done everything, yeah.
like we had this like self-storage unit.
It
which
started
was
off
a
in
nightmare.
in the little office, didn't it? And then you
Yeah.
got the self-storage unit, and then you got a bigger self-storage unit, bigger office, and then I think you moved.
I remember even getting that self-storage unit and everyone telling me not to
Yeah,
do that.
I know. It was 6 by 6 foot. Everyone was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
It was like £125 a month, and I was
Yeah.
like, I want the expense.
Even the office. The office was smaller than this room we're in. You couldn't even got this sofa in that first office, could you?
Yeah, and that was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to go a little bit more back into the early years of Odd Muse and that first 6 month period. So I've got my self-storage unit. This was before things first started going crazy. What is like your earliest memories of Odd Muse?
Earliest memories is you waking up, me going to bed and you being on your laptop, me waking up and you being on your laptop, and then coming home, just not talking, just planning. I'd be like, what is she doing for all this time? What is she doing? And then you was just, even the name, Odd Muse, like it took, like you just wanted to nail the name so
Yeah.
bad. It had to be the name. And then
Yeah.
it took months and months and months to get that. Then it was just like everything, the designing, the planning of the whole thing was just crazy. And I thought that I didn't realise what, at that time, I didn't realise how much you put into it. But obviously looking back now, it's like, if you didn't put all that into it, you wouldn't have got where you are now.
Absolutely. I do feel like Odd Muse started with like a good name and a good product, and I always say that. I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
You had the one thing that was sort of different, and just the whole brand was just different, just because you was the face of it. You was wearing it, you was modelling it, you was designing it. You was you, just doing everything.
Do you have any other early memories of Odd Muse?
I've got loads of
Like,
memories.
just tell us all.
So, what can I think? When we built your warehouse, when you first got the warehouse,
Yeah.
and it was like your mum and dad was like, "Don't get that warehouse."
Yeah, my mum and dad basically have like, even to this day now,
Overheads.
they have a real fear of my overhead. So like whenever I've walked out the room, they'll grab Josh and be like, is Amy okay? Like the overheads are huge. And Josh is like, don't worry, she's fine.
It's
She knows what
fine.
she's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mum is like so worried about the fact that we have like even
Staff and office shops.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you got the warehouse, then you outgrew the warehouse and got the next door warehouse, and we knocked through. And your dad, and then I remember your dad pulling me then and saying, "She's got 2 warehouses now. Like, what's going on?" And it was like, "Yeah, Pete, it's growing. Like, it's doing well."
I don't think they knew how well it was doing.
They didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
But because
Now they know
Yeah.
because they've just obviously this last year I started doing more TikToks about I've always been the face of Odd Muse, but I never used to do a lot on like my personal socials. And in the last year, I've just been speaking so much about Odd Muse, and I've been speaking a lot of numbers. So I kind of feel like, in a way, it helps my mum and dad realise
calm.
that it's
Yeah.
okay. I kind of know what I'm doing.
Because at the time,
We're spending money, but we're making money. It's all lucrative.
At the time, it was all new to everyone.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. I can 100%. Like they didn't want you to quit your job. They didn't want you to start off
No,
news as such.
no.
And then for you
What
to
did
go,
you think about me quitting my job?
I knew how you felt about it, and I could see that. Sort of, I know that in that industry, if you're going to work, you need to go and work at ASOS for 10 years to get a pay rise or to get where you want to be. So you would either have to leave ASOS anyway and go to another brand, or leave ASOS and do your own thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to get the personal growth, you would have to leave and go elsewhere and get more experience there. Go there, get a higher role, get a higher role, get a higher role.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how I felt. And that's how I explained it to you. But obviously, parents worry.
Parents worry, yeah.
Are you going to come sit with me? We worry about you, Oddie.
Yeah, but I knew that you liked it at ASOS. It was a long way to travel for us anyway.
Do you remember when I first got my job at ASOS?
Camden, yeah.
And I was speaking about this. I used to say to Josh every night, I've got to go to Camden in the morning. But when I first got my job at ASOS, I was so excited. I remember we was in Florida and we bought my first coat to commute in.
Yeah.
But do you remember that they told me I got the job and then
They told you didn't
they
start.
didn't give me a start date for like 4 to 5 months. So by the time I started, I couldn't use my coat.
Travelling coat.
But that was exciting. But yeah, that was like my first sort of like job.
Even when you got the job at ASOS, I thought, like, wow, she got a job at ASOS. Like, that's good. That's cool. Like, I didn't know it was at ASOS.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. It was cool. I loved working at ASOS. And then obviously we was together throughout my university journey, which was fun. Have you got any early memories of me in university?
Yeah, you've always wanted to get the best grades.
Yeah, so I remember in my final year, like Josh just didn't understand. We met while I was in uni, and as I entered so for the first 2 years of uni, it didn't count, but I still really cared. But my third year was 100% of my grade. So in my third year, I was just
work, study.
Yeah, like
sort of.
And you
obsessed. You was obsessed with it.
I was obsessed. Yeah, I was obsessed, and you didn't really understand.
Because I didn't. Uni wasn't a fault for me, sort of thing. Like, I've never.
Did you care in school though? Because I cared so much.
Not like
tears.
I didn't try and get A's, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Barely got C's.
Yeah, so for my final major project, Josh just kind of like took him a minute to get it, I'd say.
Yeah, and I remember you was doing
my FMP.
You was creating like a shoe, weren't you?
Yeah.
You was creating a shoe that had different add-ons on it, like the belt with the blazer.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Do you not remember the blazer I did with the sleeves?
Yeah,
when you whipped the sleeves off. So
Yeah.
for my final major project, you basically had to create this brand. And on my last day of university, I had to present this brand to like the board at university. And the night before, I'd got loads of prototypes made. So I had this blazer where we like whipped the sleeves off and it would be like a waistcoat. And then I had these shoes where there was like a barely there shoe, but you'd put different straps through them and make them a different shoe. And the night before my presentation, I decided that I wanted to create some packaging, didn't I?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
A box for the
dreaded box.
And it had to have all the inside of it had to be lined.
I designed it, so we had to line the inside. I'd gone to like maybe like the card factory and bought this like magnetic big white box. But on my computer, I had drawn it up to be like lined grey and white stripes with like a pink inside. Very chic. However, we had to do that ourselves.
No, I remember
so
getting
I had like vinyl printed, and I remember at 3 a.m. I was vinyling the inside of this box and I mucked it up completely. And all Josh could hear was me sobbing in the kitchen.
No.
You was doing something else. You was like threading a shoe or something.
I was at home. I was at my mum and dad's. You was at your mum and dad's. And I remember you rung me crying, I'm going to fail. This isn't going to work. I'm done so shit. And I was like, Amy, it's fine. It's okay. What's wrong? And it was like 3 a.m. And I just remember like getting out of bed, putting my jacket on all tired, driving to yours and going like, right, you do that and I will do this.
Yeah, so then I was just rehearsing my lines for the presentation the next day and you was just
I was just
vinyling this box with like your eyes hanging out your head.
Yeah, it come out really well.
But then, and I remember I had the presentation the next day on no sleep and I smashed it, didn't I?
Yeah, you done well.
And you were so excited. I remember ringing you. You was like, yes!
I felt like it was my presentation.
It was your own achievement. I said to you, they loved the box. But yeah, that's just how obsessed I can get.
Yeah.
With things. And I was like that when I was starting Odd Muse.
Yeah, you've always just wanted it to be perfect. Not perfect, but like you will put your all into it. You know?
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good.
So at what point did you think Odd Muse was crazy? Start at the beginning, like with your moments.
But right at the beginning. When I thought it was right at the beginning was when you rung me. I was at work. Again, you've rung me crying. And I was hysterically crying. And I was thinking, what has gone on? You didn't tell me what was going on. You were just telling me to come.
I couldn't speak.
You used to say like, come home. And you was at my mum and dad's, and I think my dad was there.
Your dad was there, but your mum and sister were away.
So it's just Amy and my dad.
Oh, I'm
and then
crying.
As I've walked in the door, Amy's on the kitchen floor crying, and my dad's just sort of standing there like, don't really know what to do. And I was like, what is wrong? I thought something bad had happened. And then she just showed me her phone.
My iPad was going crazy.
iPad was going,
like, what's going on?
ding.
Something must be good. I don't know.
And then you was just like, Lorna's ordered a blazer. And I was thinking, who's Lorna? And then when you showed me your phone, it was like sold out, bang. And I was like, wow. Like, I couldn't believe it.
We'd gone and bought this like little label printer.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And we was printing labels in your kitchen, and we literally filled your kitchen with the labels. And your dad was like, I don't understand what's going on. And I remember hours later, I think we'd hit like 15k in sales or whatever number I needed to break even.
And it was done, yeah.
And I just started crying to your dad, like, I've just broke even. And he was like,
yeah.
Brilliant.
And we went straight from there. We printed the labels and we went straight to the little self-storage unit and stayed up packing them, didn't we?
All night long.
Sent them all out.
Yeah.
Next day, took them
and then we did the pre-order, and we sold like 700 units on pre-order. So like 4 weeks after that, we was back down there till like God knows what time in the morning.
It was fun though. It
was fun.
Yeah.
We was doing night shifts though.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun because it was just like so unexpected, and it was like right at the beginning, so it was so exciting. It was like, I want to say Lorna wore the blazer within like 2 weeks of launching. It was definitely September and launched.
I remember she wore it to Paris, and you said to me, "Oh my God, she's going to do a shoot in Paris. Like Odd Muse is in Paris." Like, it was just like that was probably the first time that you'd seen someone take it abroad and wear it and post about it.
Yeah, and it was exactly what I wanted to do. Like, it's exactly how I wanted to work with influencers. I wanted them to love the product so much that they would just genuinely wear it, and that's totally happened with
and you
Lorna.
Did used to say
she
to
was
me,
my number one.
You did used to say to me before Lorna actually wore it and bought it. You said to me, I really want Lorna to wear it. We want Lorna to. I didn't know who Lorna was. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know girl influencers, things like that. So I was like, yeah, brilliant. And then you said to me, I think Lorna's ordered. There was a woman named Lorna had ordered.
Lorna Andrews.
But we didn't know the second name. And you was like, and we just packed it, sent it out, and then.
I remember when we were packing all the orders and like the addresses coming through there, we were like sending some to like Monaco.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, we'd be silent packing, just trying to get them all packed. And I'd go, hey, this is going Denmark. Like, wow. And then we'd go, what, this is going somewhere else.
What a lovely time before Brexit.
And then you start getting US orders. It was like, and I was like, it's going Texas. This is going.
Yeah. We've always done like more US at the beginning. UK took a minute to warm up to us. But yeah. That was a good memory. Storage days.
Early days, and then it will go to probably when we was at Grosvenor House. It was just after lockdown.
Oh yeah, it was that when you could only eat outside.
Eat outside, yeah. And then we was just sitting down eating, and we was literally talking about how we'd never seen no one wear Odd Muse out in the wild, and it was our first night out.
So it was like first time everyone's.
It was literally our first night out after lockdown, and. We're sitting there talking to each other, and I just remember looking over at the girl. There was a girl walking in. And I said, "Hey, I think she's got a blazer on." And your face was like, you just dropped, and you was like, "Where?" And as we turned round, she had the cream blazer on.
She had the blazer on, yeah.
But she saw us looking at her, so then we were on separate sides of the restaurant.
We was just like looking at each other.
We were just like making eye contact with each other, and then like looking to carry on eating. And you wanted to go and say hello, didn't you?
Yeah, but I was just too shy.
And then she went to the toilet, and I said, "You go in there and talk to her."
Yeah, I like followed her into the toilet.
Yeah, I just said, go to the toilet and talk to her.
And then it just happened in the girls' bathroom. She was like, "Do you own Odd Muse?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're my first customer." And then we go back to our table and we go sit down separately with our boyfriends, and we're just sort of like giggling. And Charlie, her boyfriend, turned around like, "Should we just all sit together? Because these two are just giggling."
He said, "Come on, let's." And there was a table here, so we all sat together.
Yeah, and then
we just ended up.
We ended up in their hotel room till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh left it without his shoes and his wallet. I left my purse there as well. No, I left my bag there. I remember you left your wallet and you left your shoes.
I remember getting in the lift, just drunk, standing there, pushed ground, and then like they was like, stop. And I'm like, what? She was like, your shoes. I just remember looking down thinking, what am I doing? We've just met Aim's first clients. I'm in the lift with no shoes on. It was mad.
Don't worry, we've actually.
But they're right though. They're funny. Yeah, you still talk to them now.
She was wild. It was just such a fun night. That was such a fun night out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what?
And you've met a friend for life. Like you've.
Oh yeah. Like
you've been out in Dubai.
Had a wild night out in Dubai. again, one of the best nights I've had in a long while. We both got chucked out of February 30, actually. But yeah, that was a wild one because that was the first Odd Muse customer, and what a vibe she was.
Yeah, she was funny.
She was funny. But yeah, and then what was your other
from
one?
there, I would say, off the top of my head, I would probably say the pop-up.
Yeah, Covent Garden.
Well, just everything, just like from that point then you got the warehouse, and it was like, right, she's got a big warehouse now.
There's so many times where you've said to me over the years, like, slow down, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But I do it like in demand of the business. It's
Yeah, of
always
course, yeah.
like, yeah. There's sometimes where I've like overstepped.
You do shoot high though.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's good, yeah.
Because
it works.
You taught me that. I was so scared, but like, I don't think I would have left ASOS and started Odd Muse without you. And I always say that.
Yeah.
I always say that because I was not as carefree as you. And now we're just two floating type Bs that I don't know how we ever get anything done. You've changed
But it works.
me. I mean, I've always been a bit like unorganised and chaotic and stuff, but Josh is so carefree, worry about it tomorrow. So what?
But with starting Odd Muse, I just
cared
thought
what people think.
if you was to channel all of that energy that you put into uni, that you put into ASOS, you used to get to ASOS. You started at 9. You used to get there at 6.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, why are you getting
I
there at 6?
used to get the train with you.
Yeah, we used to get the train together, yeah. So I used to start earlier. I used to work on site, and we used to get the train at like 6 in the morning, and Amy would be sitting there all tired, or like, and I'd be like, but you don't start for another 3 hours. Like, why are you here? And she'd just go, I just want to get in early. I've got to start this, got to do that. And then you'd stay late to get the train home with me. And I just think you're mad. But then I said to you, if you put all of that energy that you do into Odd Muse, into something for yourself, it's going to work. Because you're just putting your all into it, and you're making it work.
Yeah.
And you did.
So yeah, here we are. Is there any time where you've worried about me?
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
From the beginning, I'd say I worried when you signed the pop-up, because I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then you started going, what if no one shows up? And then I was like, they're going to show up. And I was thinking, what if no one shows up? Like, that'll be like, she'll be distraught if no one shows up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But I never actually thought that no one's going to show up.
I'm very delicate that way. Like, I would be distraught.
Yeah, and then and just everything, like the London store, because it's obviously such a long. Like the pop up was, it's daunting, but it's only a month.
It was something we was trialing out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a month, and then that's it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine. But when you done the store, it was like, right, that's a 5-year lease. That's a store in London. That's there now, and that's got to work. But every day it has worked.
Yeah. Any other times you're worried about me? Like, what was the time where you really worried about me?
Times I really worried about you was...
Like, is there any situation?
Dubai.
Yeah.
The Dubai situation. Really worried about you then, because I just thought that...
No one could really tell me it was going to be okay either.
No, and you was in bits.
Yeah,
I'd
be like
there was sort of like nothing that I could do about it to help apart from support you and try and just say it's going to be okay. But it like I was saying, is it going to be? I don't know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But then but it's like it was a lesson.
Yeah.
It was a major lesson,
Yeah.
and I feel like you kind of needed that.
Yeah.
Because you jump it, because you jumped.
Because I had the first, like, I'd say before, like, Luke doing what I did in Dubai.
It was like, yes, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. And it all worked.
Yeah,
Everything
and it all worked.
Yeah.
I was kind of just like on this high that kind of like, I can do anything with this brand and it will work. And that was actually my first experience of putting a lot of money into something and it actually not working and actually exploding into a situation that was far bigger than me, bigger than my experience.
It was crazy because it was so up to the point where even when we was in the office and we're signing the lease, and I was just thinking like, should there be like a lawyer here with us? She's just reading over this and things like that. Like, but it was just me and you in this office in Dubai. Yep, sign that, done.
Yeah.
And it was all quick. They wanted us in, they wanted us out.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, it's a little bit, I don't know. And then after that, I remember leaving the office, signing that, going to meet the architects,
Yes.
And then them saying, right,
It's going to be like a 300k
they said
build.
this fit out's going to be 300,000 to 400,000.
I thought them in Durham.
And we was like, right, so I'm in Durham. He went, no, GBP. I mean, we looked at each other and was like,
and this
wow.
was like years. This was like quite a few years ago now. So this was like, I didn't have that money at all.
No,
I wouldn't have even been able to
couldn't-
find that money.
I just didn't really understand how anyone would spend 300,000 to 400,000 pounds on a rented store. You know, like if you don't own it, and that's just to fit it out, and then
For a
you
store
got
that size,
that's
yeah.
not the rent, that's not everything else,
Yeah.
that's not your just staff, rent,
Yeah.
everything that comes with it.
Yeah. I feel
Then I
like
was
I will
worried.
have a store in Dubai one day,
Yeah,
but I just tried to do it too soon.
and it was a
Way
big store.
too soon.
It was well bigger
And I
than
have people that negotiate for me
Yeah.
and read contracts for me and just make sure everything's all safe.
yeah. That
I
was
didn't have
just
that before.
That was you and probably 3 members of staff.
Yeah, it was
3,
all
4
very
members.
it was all very rushed. I was even ringing people on my team like, you just need to take us up on this opportunity. Doesn't come around a lot. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest part. And I think just in general, I can just drive myself a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I worry about I used to worry about you. You've chilled out loads now. I used to worry a lot about you just stressing yourself out, getting up early, sleeping late, getting 2-3 hours sleep.
Yeah.
I'd wake up sometimes and you'd be I'd wake up to like tapping, and it'd be you in bed on your laptop replying to emails.
Yeah.
And I just think you have to break. You have to like get yourself away from that.
I'd say last year and this year is the first point of Odd Muse where I've just like,
Yeah.
I actually need to live my life.
Yeah.
Because I was just like looking back on Odd Muse and I had no memories, I felt.
But I thought
I'd no, like, happy memories.
you were so
like,
focused
every time
on.
someone would be like, oh my God, you
Yeah.
opened a store, how amazing. I'd be like, well, that was chronic stress and I've barely slept. I'm still just like recovering.
Yeah, you were so focused on the next thing and the next product and the next this, the next that you at that time you wasn't living in the moment.
Yeah.
You wasn't thinking, looking from an outsider's perspective and thinking, this is crazy. Like I would always look at it and think, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, laptop,
Because I
needs
just
to do
had
that,
so
needs
much
to do
to
that.
do. I could never take that like wider view on it. I'd always be like, yeah, but I just have to keep going. And I still do somewhat feel like that, but I just feel like I'm finding a better balance.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm still
100%.
finding the balance, but
You still work hard. There's no
I think
slacking.
that's the thing for me.
But
I'm
you
like
used to
obsessed
work
with like wanting
Yeah.
like I used to have this thing where I'd want people to just know I was really busy. And I used to think like being busy was like cool. Like, oh, I've got so much to do today and oh, I'm so busy. But actually being busy isn't that cool. Like living your life and just having a life outside of work and really having that balance between work and life is actually
just being happy.
happier way of life and cooler. Whereas I used to be like, fill this
wanting to
to-do
do-
list
yeah.
out and I'm so busy, and anytime my mum would try to ring me, anytime you would want to go and do something, I'd be like, I'm so busy.
Yeah, I've got to do
anytime
this,
we'd
I've
go
got
on
to do that.
holiday, I'd just be on my laptop all the time.
Yeah. We'd be around the pool and she'd be on her iPad underneath the towel, and I'd just be like, give it a
Yeah.
rest. We're on holiday.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I've got to do this. But I understand it. I just think, yeah, okay, like, yeah, you do need to do that, like, but
Maybe not to that extreme.
yeah, maybe
And that's
not
what
to-
I'm
yeah.
realising myself.
Yeah, which is good.
Start your business with all the tools you need at your fingertips. I started Odd Muse with none of the skills I needed to build my own online store. When starting your business, the budget is typically low and you'll find yourself working independently on a lot of things. I'm grateful for this time in my business where I wore many hats and built a lot of new skills. Shopify is the platform that guided me through and removed the need for a full team when I couldn't commit to one. Starting a brand is daunting, and Shopify equipped me with everything I needed. It fueled me with confidence leading up to my launch. Fast forward 5 years, Odd Muse now hosts up to 30,000 people on its online store every single day. The growth of Odd Muse has become so rewarding, and I'm always so glad I started my journey with Shopify. I truly believe anyone can do it with Shopify. If you dream of owning your own business, then it's time to get started. Head to shopify.com/Amy.
But without you, obviously there's a positive to everything. Without you being like that, would you have,
I know,
have
it's
been,
sacrifice, and I
will Odd
always
Muse
say
be where
that.
it is now? Yeah.
Yeah, I always say the amount I sacrificed in the first like 3 years is, you know, partly why the brand is so successful, because I always made sure there was just so much noise around Odd Muse. That's all I wanted at all times.
Yeah, there was always
I
like
wanted
LA,
noise.
when we done LA.
Yeah.
That was that was like crazy. That was
crazy.
All of my friends are like, oh my God, she's doing it in LA. Like LA, that's crazy. I've never been to LA before.
But I always wanted people to talk about Odd Muse like that.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was.
I've always wanted them to be almost like shocked by what we're doing.
And doing that event in LA was shocking to everyone, to all of my mates, everyone we know. Everyone was like, oh my God, she's doing this event in Catch in LA. Like all these people are here. Like
You had a whale of a time that day.
I did, yeah. I had a hell of a time, yeah. Yeah, that was
You were
good.
chatting away. You was only supposed to drop me off, and you was just like chatting away.
Had a little mojito. It was good. No, it was good, yeah. And then, but we was what done it for me was obviously the week before, we're sitting there watching Selling Sunset on telly, and then next week I'm standing there having a drink with Emma and you and just chatting. I'm just looking, thinking like, it's just mad. Like, it's just unreal.
Crazy. Yeah.
But even there's so many things that's happened that I think it's just unreal, because to me it's just like, who'd have thought it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just normal people.
We were talking about this last night. Like, we are just normal people.
We're just normal people. Come from normal working class families. Our mums and dads just work. Like, just normal people. We went to normal schools, and yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's just different to even all of my friends. My friends now, they still ask me all the time, like, what's Amy doing now? Like, what's next? Like, what's going on now? Like, they know something big is coming next all the time, and they just like, they love it.
Yeah, it is crazy when you think about it. Because you always say it. Like, sometimes I'll just get random texts from from Josh, like, Odd Muse is actually crazy.
Because
I'm just like
because sometimes I won't go on my Instagram or whatever, or I won't go on your Instagram for a while, and I'll look at it and you've got, like, I went out the other day and you've got 130,000 followers. Like, last time I actually
my Instagram?
your personal, yeah. Last time I actually like looked at your followers was probably 100k. Okay. Weren't that long ago. Yeah. And it's like, do you know what I mean? It's mad. Odd Muse, 1 million followers. Nearly?
Yeah. We are. I think we're on like 960.
Yeah, so it's a million followers.
I remember hitting 100k. Like, wow,
I remember when you got 10k followers and I bought you balloons.
Yeah, you got the balloons.
Balloons and a cake.
I didn't get you 100k balloons.
You already had them. You already had 10k.
Well, you should probably do something for 1 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people that follow this brand, so no pressure as our first guest on the podcast.
Oh, there's pressure.
I'm
not a very camera person.
No, you're not.
I don't like photos. I don't.
But you
hate videos. I don't mind having a photo.
Watching people on YouTube and you love all that. So why would you not like? Why would you be scared yourself to do something like that?
Putting yourself out there, like I've always sort of.
I actually secretly, deep down, think your dream is to be a YouTuber.
I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. But it's like you though. Like you are like an introvert. But
yes.
No one would think that because
you got to challenge yourself.
Because you're always out there. You're doing. I remember when you first started doing the photos.
I think you can be introverted and outgoing at the same time. I just think you need to be a nice person.
Yeah, but no, it's putting yourself out there.
I'm not an extrovert, but if someone comes over to me or I'm speaking to someone, like it just always feels very natural to me because I do love speaking to people, and I also find other people really interesting.
Yeah, no, but it's just being confident to put yourself out there.
Well, this is the first step.
Yeah, we're getting there.
What would your YouTube channel be about?
Just.
Would you just like blow up cars and mend them again?
I don't know what it'd just be.
Stress test cars.
Day in the lives. It'd be.
Day in the lives.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. And how do you think Odd Muse has affected our relationship? I feel like this is going to be a big segment in this podcast. So give me your all. Dig deep.
So I would say it's affected our relationship positively and negatively as well, all the way through. But how has it affected the relationship? I'd say it hasn't put strain on the relationship, but
it's just had moments.
It's had moments, yeah, where it's just because everything's so surreal though, and it's like
I think there's half of it where it's like Odd Muse is amazing. It's changed our lives. We enjoy it. We've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
and
massively.
We've done the things we've been able to do is just amazing.
All the experiences that come with it, everything, and then the other, I absolutely love it. I was the first one to say to you to do it. I've always supported it, always. But then another part of me would be like, you should be doing that. You should be doing better than, not better than Amy, but you should be you're a man, like you should be doing well, you should be providing. And then when you've gone like, and like store in New York, store in London, doing these launches, doing like selling out, and I'm like, wow, I'm just going to work. Like it's like, don't know, it's strange. It's a strange feeling.
I know. I think it's a strange feeling for a man.
For a man,
like,
yeah.
I feel like I've always been like really level-headed about it.
Yeah.
I've always been like,
no, you've always...
listen, there's only in this relationship, there is only probably going to be one clothing company that sees that amount of sales.
Yeah.
So we can both enjoy it together.
No, of course. No, in the earlier days, that would be my mindset. My mindset would be like, right, Josh, you need to do more. You need to do this. You need to do that.
Yeah.
Because Amy's doing this. But then you'd always say to me, look, Josh, like, don't stress. I'd get so stressed out.
Yeah.
And you'd say to me, Josh, like,
out.
chill out. We're a team. And I'd be like, yeah, I know we're a team, but I need to do this, but I need to do that. And
why do you think you... I know society would make you feel like that, obviously.
Just in general,
Just norms.
Just in general, yeah. And I would never, like... So, at the early stages, when I was just going to work, and then people at work would be like, oh, your bird's doing this, your bird's doing that. And I'd be like, yeah, like... And I'd think, I'm just here doing this. Like, I need to do something else. I need to start a clothing brand. I need to start doing this. I need to start doing that. But later on, like as it goes on, we are a team and we work together.
But I think the pressure of it was a lot for you.
I've always thought that I need to do more because you are doing so well. But then later on, it's like the way I look at it is what you've done is unreal, and it's like I don't think I could do a fashion brand. Like I couldn't do like grow it how quick you've grown it and handle it how you've handled it.
And I always say to you, I don't think I could do it again.
No.
Like if I was to start, like you've spoke to me a few times about maybe doing menswear, which I do feel like that is in the pipeline maybe one day, but a whole new brand, like I just don't. You've always said to me, what can I do? What business can you help me with? And I'm just like, I've worked really hard to get here, but you know, there's timing and there's just a few things along the line that has worked out for me. And obviously being face of a brand has really worked. Like growing a business without a person front and centre and putting in the work that I have is really, really hard. So I think I always struggled, like, how can I help you? And
you have helped me. You've helped me loads.
No, I know, but I think from my point of view, whenever we maybe clashed was because I just wanted you to just enjoy Odd Muse. I was just like, why is he not enjoying it? Why can't he just live his normal life, go to work? On the weekends, we'll enjoy Odd Muse. Like, we can still, like, very much live Odd Muse's life. What I didn't consider is, like, Monday to Friday, you actually wasn't happy and you actually wanted something for your own.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's quite a topic for people who are, especially when it's, like, the woman that's got a successful company. I think people our age don't understand that you're supposed to grow together. Some people try and just they grow and maybe think they're better than someone, or I think
that probably a lot of people that would, if you put a lot of people in our situation of us being together, you going to uni, you starting Odd Muse, and then me just being normal and just going to work and just doing normal things, and then you're like going to do this, you're going to LA, you're going to do these talks, you're meeting all these famous people, you're doing all this stuff. I think naturally other people would just go like that. But we have stuck together and we're a team. Like you say, you always come home and I always say to you, what's going on the Muse today? What's going on?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, this happened. And we'd sit down at the table and we would just sort of brainstorm of like how we can fix the problems.
Yeah.
And I would always say to you, you would always say, we would always tell each other not to bring our work stresses home. But I like sorting out I would rather sit there and talk about Odd Muse's sort of troubles that's going on and try and sort it than talk about my work, because Odd Muse is interesting. I love it. And
Wait, you've not actually told anyone what you do for work?
I am a electrician by trade, but now we do property together.
Yes. So I think that's one thing as well. So for me, I was like, why can't he just, enjoy Odd Muse? We can like live our lives. It's absolutely fine. And I think whenever, if you're in a couple and one person is seeing a lot of success, you and you're in a position to, you absolutely have to invest into the other person's dream.
Yeah.
I think, and I know Josh would do that for me.
Of course, without a doubt.
So, and you know, Josh was tainted on his dream for a little while. I feel like you was just like, I just want a clothing brand. I want a Shopify site. I just want to hear that sound. And then it was like, it took us to actually both calm down and be like, okay, what can we do together? What are we both bringing to the table?
Together,
Josh is incredibly good at, you have such an eye for property like that. For example, we've basically started a property company together, and we are flipping homes. We're on our first project, and Odd Muse has obviously allowed us to be able to fund this. But from Josh's point of view, like, I remember you were so excited about this bungalow, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I have no eye for that. I remember when my sister bought her bungalow and done it up. I walked in first day, I was like, I don't know what they're going to do with this.
You couldn't see it.
I got in the car after we saw it, and I was like, I don't know what they're going to do.
I remember walking away, and you was like, why have they bought that?
I have no eye for property.
Yeah.
But you have, like, what you've done is, like, every time I go there, I'm like, you are so clever.
It's done now,
It
it's
blows my
now.
mind. Yeah. And I think that's where we've been able to find that middle ground. It wasn't, I think it would have been terrible idea for us to start a clothing brand together, because it would have been, it's my experience, and it would have just been like more workload for me.
With the property, it's like,
I've genuinely, like, I go to see that house.
You've been there twice, 3 times. You come here the other day.
3 times, yeah.
You come here the other day and didn't even come in. You just come outside and was like, yeah, nice.
But, you know,
it works though. Yeah, it works.
That's how it works, and I think that's really important.
Because there's nowhere we can clash with that. Like, we can't clash.
But it's also, it's a balance between what both of us can bring to the table, and I think any couples going into business together, that is like the main thing. But going back to the point where I said, if there's one party in the relationship seeing success, it's so important to look at the other person and be like, okay, we're a team. How can I help you reach a success that you want to reach? And a lot of people our age just don't do that. No. Like, it's just not a thing. Like, a lot of people our age really separate themselves, like separate their money and just see themselves as their own person. There's a bit of competition.
But in the relationship?
Yeah. And I think a lot of that also boils down to, nowadays, what women and even men look for in each other is wrong.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, doesn't really set you up for a successful relationship. So, yeah. But overall, I feel like we are, like, way past that. I think also a lot of it comes down to it was just being young. Like, 22 years old.
We was young, and
this brand's all of a sudden, a brand's taking £100,000. Because we don't know what that looks like.
Think about it, like, when you was at uni, you didn't work. You worked part time.
Yeah.
We'd go out with friends. We'd go, like, gauchos, or we'd go to brunches and things like that. And I remember you'd be, like, stressed. You'd be like,
no money.
I've got no money. And I'd say to you, like, it doesn't matter. Like I remember saying to you, look, you're at uni, and I would never expect you to come out and go, right, I would never sit there and go, right, you got to pay for yourself. Like, that is not going to happen, because you're at uni, and I know that you work part-time, and you're my girlfriend. Like, well, but people aren't like that.
No, but it's the same thing with me as Odd Muse grows. Like, we've done some amazing things. Like, when Josh flew to New York for, like, maybe, like, just over a week while we were building the store.
I was there
and
for
it's like,
you was there 2
for you
weeks.
to take that time out, and, like, everyone's there, you know, working for Odd Muse. Like, I would never expect you to, you know, fly out there for a week, take all that time off work and pay for everything, because you're on my work trip. And I think throughout that, we've always just had that understanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's also, you know, the fact that we've been navigating this while being young, but we've also been navigating this while, like, our situation is so different.
Yeah.
Our situation is so different. Our relationship is so different to anyone I know. And it's the same with our lives. Our lives are now so different.
Yeah, definitely. Our lives have changed massively. Our lives have changed, but I feel like we haven't changed.
No, we haven't.
We're still Josh and Amy.
Like,
we still
like love doing things with our family. We still
we still
like
exactly
all the same things.
And a lot of people
we still just love being at home.
But a lot of people in your position, if someone, a lot of people in your position would change, and they wouldn't do the things that we do, and they wouldn't do the things that you do. Like for your birthday, when it's a new tradition now, every year we go to a brasserie light, but Amy, it's her birthday. You organise it all. You invite my family. You invite your family, and we just go out and just have a good day.
It's my brother's birthday as well.
It's Amy and Harry's birthday.
He got really annoyed last year when it wasn't his. But yeah, we still do all them things together. We spend Christmas with your... Like, we just do everything
we'll spend Christmas together.
We've always done that. That's the one thing I feel like our families have always been kind of like joined at the hip for like the last 7 years, 8 years or 9 years, however long we've been together, I don't know. But yeah, I would say it boils down to our situation is so different. Like a lot of people nowadays can go online and like, or like there might be some sort of couple or some sort of someone that they can familiarise yourself with, and truly there's no one in my position, there's no one in our situation that I've ever met.
No, never.
And I think it's just navigating that. Like even when I go to like all these founder dinners, like a lot of the time the women there will have started their business with their husband, or they've got the backing of like a really successful husband that's been in the industry for a while, and it's just different.
No, definitely.
It's just different.
No, I think it's so different, and it's like everything's new. Like going to New York, opening the store in New York, like it's like
everything is
it's crazy. It's all new, and it's like how do you handle all of these crazy things that's happening to no one else that we know?
Yeah.
And it's like you just got to handle that however you handle that.
What would you say to someone in your position, maybe like 3 years ago, their girlfriend's seeing a little bit of success, they're sort of going to work every day and
just enjoy the process.
Maybe feeling a little bit, not enough. What would you say to them?
I'd say enjoy the process, and if you're solid and you're a team like we are, then you've got nothing to worry about.
But what about if they're like
they're feeling down?
They're just feeling really down. Because you've had moments where I've said that to you and that ain't worked. So come on.
I don't know. I would just say like, well, for me, no matter what someone would say to you, if you feel like that, I feel like you yourself have got to make a change. You have got to change your situation. Like, so for you doing Odd Muse, when you started Odd Muse, I left site and started electrical company. So then we both started doing that together. You was doing Odd Muse, I was doing my electrical company, and then obviously Odd Muse has just absolutely rocketed. And since then, I don't do the electrical anymore, and we just do the property. But it's like a stepping stone. So you left ASOS, I left my job. I started electrical company, you started Odd Muse. Then Odd Muse has taken off. I can sort of see that the growth in my electrical company isn't there.
And you wasn't enjoying it.
And I don't enjoy it. I never liked it. I never enjoyed it. I used to drag myself to work every day.
I think that is a lot of the stress during that time, the fact that you actually didn't enjoy your day-to-day.
I've never liked it. So obviously I used to, like I say, I used to get up 6 in the morning, whatever, drag myself on the train, go up to London, go work all day, just wish the day away, get home, and then there'd be like amazing news from Odd Muse, and I'd be like overwhelmed, and I think, yeah, this is way good. And then the next day it's like, get up at 6, get back on the train, be negged out all day, get home, and then it's like, and I just used to think, no, I'm not doing that no more. So you have got to walk away from that.
Yeah.
You have got to walk. If it doesn't make you happy and you're not enjoying it, and you got to walk away.
And what would you say to someone who their girlfriend's seeing a lot of success, but they're happy for them, but maybe their friends are teasing them? Like that must happen. Like boys are like.
Oh, of course. Of course, I've been bantered loads by my mates. Everyone's taking the piss, saying like it's just boy stuff though. Like it's like in the group chat and things like that. Obviously, it happens.
So what would you say?
I would say just ignore it. It's a laugh. Like just ignore it. Banter them back. Take the piss back. They're jealous. I'm joking. Anyone watching?
Edit that out. Okay, cool.
No, it's just you just got to get on with it. Ignore everyone. Ignore the outside. Everything. And if you're happy and you're content, then go with it.
I think if the roles were reversed and you had a really successful clothing brand, I just know that we've spoke about this before. Like I just know that you probably wouldn't have me going to work. I just know that you'd give it would be so different. And there's times where we've like really had there's hard times where I've literally said to you, I wish Odd Muse was yours, because this dynamic would be so much easier and there'd be so much less pressure on it, because society tells you that the man should see the success and the woman should just be there,
be at home, like, and just do stuff. And
so I've said that so many times. Sometimes if there's been times where I've thought if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd actually prefer it. Just for like, yeah.
Then it's like it's everything that comes with that. If the shoe was on the other foot, how would I handle it? How would I handle the stress?
I always say
would
this.
That would create a massive, because I'm not good at handling stress.
I always say this. If Odd Muse was Josh's, I'd have like 5 quad bikes.
I'd go crazy. You would just go
insane. There would be.
I'm a boy. I like doing things
exactly.
Like that.
And it's
I like cars.
You're
I
also
like engines.
Like a young, like especially when I started Odd Muse, young boy. Like girls manage money so much better.
Yeah, like I probably wouldn't have at the beginning. You was like, you done that launch, it sold out, crying on the kitchen floor. You reinvested every single penny.
What would you have done with that 100k?
I would have had a good time, and I probably would have reinvested what I put in the first time to get the 100k, and then I would have just got a new car, or I would have been silly, yeah. But you reinvested everything, and at that time then I thought like, that's mad. Like you're reinvesting everything, but you needed to, because the sales was there.
I do always say, like, in those moments I've said, I wish, Odd Muse was yours. The dynamic would be easier. We'd be able to navigate situations a little bit better. We'd like live life a bit easier. But there is this other half where it's like,
it would be a lot different.
At the age I started Odd Muse, you was maybe like 24. You would have run it into the ground.
20.
100%.
No, I was 23, 24.
Yeah, you would have run it into the ground.
No, but that's because we're different.
Yeah.
You're you, and
I'm more sensible than you.
Yeah.
We're both very type B, but I'm definitely more sensible.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like
Sometimes.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So as Josh is here, do you want to maybe tell people how we met?
Yeah.
Your story?
The first night we met, Amy was actually. We've always sort of knew of each other, sort of.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like we've always had the same. Yeah, you did. We had the same friendship group.
Okay.
Sort of. So Amy was out with one of her friends, who I've known actually since I was a kid. We've been like family friends, and some boys that I know and hang around with. So now I was out in London with one of my mates, a few of my mates, and we tried to get into a club. We didn't get let in. So I rang one of my mates and I said, right, where are you? So what are you doing tonight? And he said, I'm out with Amy Smell and this other girl. And I was like, what are you doing with Amy? He was like, no, we're just out. And I was like, all right, where are you? And he said we're going to a bar in wherever it was. So is it Chelmsford?
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, we're coming. And my friends was like, why are we going there? I said, Amy's there. And they was like, but you don't know her? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to talk to her tonight. And they was all like, no, you're not. Don't be silly. And I said, I will, watch me. I remember being in the cab saying, I will, watch me. And then we got to the bar.
No, you actually asked me for a drink and I said no.
No, we arrived to the bar and I was saying we come in and we didn't really talk, no. And then I asked you if you wanted a drink. And all my friends left at this point. And I said, oh, I'm staying because I haven't even spoke to her yet. So so I stayed and I said, that's when I said to you, do you want to get a drink? And you was like, no. And I thought, oh, this ain't going well.
I've never like taken a drink.
I just said, do you want a drink?
I was like, no, it's okay, I'll get my own.
But we was in like a group of people. Like, I didn't just say, do you want a drink?
And then Bella was
I sort of offered everyone a drink. I offered everyone a drink. And
I think she ran back like, she wants this.
Yeah, and you said no. And I was like, I just thought, that ain't going to go well then. This is like, should have gone home. And then I went to the bar and Bella come back to me and said, she wants a drink, get her this. And I was thought, oh, sweet. Right. So I remember giving you the drink and then we just started talking and then I needed a lift home, didn't I?
Yeah, and I was driving that night.
You drove, yeah. So I said to you, can you give me a lift home, please? You was like, yes. So then when we got to the car, there was obviously five of us in the car and I called shotgun straight away. And then someone else tried getting in the front and you was like, no, Josh is getting in the front. And I was like, there we go. And then we literally have spoke every day since that night.
Yeah,
we went on a date.
Flatiron.
A week after.
Our first date was at Flatiron, and we, the little meat cleavers they give you. we put them in my bag and we stole them, and then we tried to go into a club and they searched my bag.
He pulled it out
and was like, why do you have knives in your bag? And I was like,
we was like, long story, don't worry about it.
And we didn't get in.
Yeah, we just walked off. Yeah, no, but that's,
Yeah, we spoke every day since.
Every day since, yeah.
And
not had a day off.
Yeah, not had a day off in
10 years.
Yeah. What does Josh mean to me?
Go on then, tell us.
What does Josh mean to me? Let's be nice to each other. I'd rather say like what you've taught me over the years.
No, tell him what I mean to you.
Okay. Obviously, Josh just means a lot to me. He is like my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I should have prepped an answer, but obviously you know how special you are, you know how important you are. And actually, this come up in New York. We was all having a conversation before you got there, all the girls in the office, and they was like, they said something like, would you rather someone you have a lot of fun with and you love them so much, or would you rather someone that's like really serious but they know how to handle situations and they're super compassionate? And everyone went down like the serious, knows how to handle situations and like lean on them sort of vibe. And I just went down the like fun but you love them so much route, and I got really challenged on that. But I just said, like, I have so much serious in my life with this business that I'm running, and I can come home to Josh and it is fun and it's lighthearted and it's not this like crazy world that I live in Monday to Friday. And, you know, I can lean on him when I have certain situations, but I kind of got over the reality that a lot of my problems are really unrelatable. Like even from like when I'm speaking to my friends, like it's not normal for me to tell my problems are just so like,
so different.
Different.
No, I get that.
Because they're the same as like people that have been in business for like years. And it's just like, it's stuff that I can't even ring like my mum and dad about. That's like a real shift. Like all of a sudden you have these problems that you can't really go to anyone in your life about. And I have to ring like Irfan, like my finance director when I have these problems. So
But you used to ring my dad, didn't you? You used to ring my dad all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, Josh just means that to me. Just like coming home and just, you know, just live just that normality before Odd Muse.
Yeah.
I think. What do I mean to you?
You mean everything to me.
Okay. Elaborate.
No, I'm just...
You hate being put on the spot.
I hate being put on the spot, yeah, but you do mean a lot to me, and I feel like you keep me level-headed and you look after me as much as I look after you.
Yeah.
I feel like we need each other.
Yeah, that's true. I'd give you that.
Yeah.
Oh, Muse Mail! I actually...
What are the questions?
Sophie basically Sophie put something like Instagram stories where people have sent in their like relationship dramas, but I actually want to go down the route of what people have asked you today.
Go on then.
Also, this is our dog Oddie that Josh made me get 5 days after we moved out.
I've always said that I've always thought to myself, as soon as I move out, I just want my own dog. And then we was moved out about a week.
Heavy on that as soon as we move out.
And then we got Oddie. And he's Amy's little magnet.
Yep. Someone's wrote, do you still work?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Someone's wrote, does Josh work for the brand? Would he ever consider working for the brand?
A lot of people say that to me. I used to say, going back to what we said earlier, I used to be like, no, I'm not working for my bird, da, da, da. But now I feel like, yeah.
Like we're moving to New York, and part of that is like building out the US warehouse and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess for the next year, we kind of
A lot of my friends ask me that as well. A lot of people say it to me all the time. Like, why don't you just go and work
There's
for
a real
Amy? Why don't you just go and
stigma
work for
around
Amy?
it, but it's actually like, no, we both want to move to New York. So Odd Muse is both going to give us both that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I genuinely need help, like, out there.
Yeah.
Imagine paying someone in New York to build you a warehouse.
I feel like I work for Odd Muse anyway.
Yeah,
I come home
and
we just talk about Odd Muse and
like
stuff.
at the beginning, you was packing orders.
Yeah.
You built the warehouse.
I've built 2 warehouses, 2 offices.
Yeah, I think you're
the first one, even in here.
You're an unpaid worker anyway, hun. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's all free work.
Someone's right. How old are you?
29. Oh,
Nearly
God.
30.
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing about Odd Muse?
Probably
One thing.
Probably just not knowing what's coming next, and then like the next thing.
Okay.
Like the anticipation of the next thing of you coming home saying, we're going to go and do this. We're going to move to New York. We're going to go and do this.
Yeah, it actually happens like that in our house. Like, we decided we was moving to New York in a day.
Yeah, but I'm always up for it.
That you are.
I'm very spontaneous. I always do just anything, whenever.
How do you feel about moving to New York?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm not nervous. I've always wanted to move away. I've always wanted to go travelling.
You used to say Australia all the
I've always just wanted to. I've always wanted to move away. I've always wanted to get out of the UK, and we've always gone on long holidays.
Yeah.
We've always gone on a lot of holidays, and yeah, it's just something I've always wanted to do. And it's like worst case scenario, we come home.
Yeah, that's Josh's favourite thing. Like, worst case scenario.
What's the worst that could happen? Like, there is no bad thing that can happen out of this. Us going to New York at all. Yeah,
I like that standpoint. And I'll give you one more question. How do you cope when most of Amy's attention has to go to the business?
I'd say it does. It does and it doesn't, because it's like.
You just understand when I'm busy.
I understand it. Yeah, I understand what you're doing. I understand that it takes a lot of your time. But then, like I said, what we said earlier, like, you used to wake up 3 a.m. I didn't understand that. I used to think like, no, like, leave it. But you're not like that anymore. Like, you're a lot more sort of normal now.
Thanks.
No, your working day is normal.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
it's not a 16, 17 hour working day.
Yeah.
It's a normal 10-hour working day, 9-hour working day.
Yeah.
And then home. And it's just like.
Oh, well, thanks for coming on. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hopefully you can come on. Olivia Rattler always has her husband on, like, rotation every season, so you have to come on again and we can talk about the New York move.
Yeah, we do it in New York.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Oh, it's been good, though. It's been an experience.
Do you want to tell everyone to like, subscribe and do all that? Oh, okay. Well, guys, if you liked that episode, Josh will for sure come on again. And you just need to like, subscribe and do all them fun things. And we'll see you next time.